So now I'm going to turn to Aura Strickland. And speaking of common sense, the last public speech that Mary Harper made, it was in 2006 in Washington, D.C., in probably the largest space in the city, or next to the convention center. It's the National Building Museum. If you've never seen it, it's a beautiful, huge 19th century construction, huge columns. And the event was a special award that was given to Mary and former Secretary of Health, Margaret Heckler, and others. But the opportunity availed a chance for Mary to make her last public remarks. And in those public remarks, she said a lot of things about, if you look at the speech, in fact, I think it's been posted on the website for this program, it's packed with ideas and thoughts that I think you could create a thesis out of each paragraph almost. But Aura Strickland, you had a role in that recognition, and I want to acknowledge that because I just learned that about you. And that segue into common sense and what you think it means. What do you think Mary meant, and what do you think that award meant, and what was that night about? Maybe that's a way to have you to talk about Mary Harper.
Okay.
So.
Well, you know, Mary is very good at pulling people together for her purposes. And she's always very clear about her goals. And when she retired in 1995, she called me. She says, Aura, you're down in Georgia. I'm going to be coming back down south to retire. And I thought, yeah, okay. And so she reconnected up with me in a more continuous way at that time. But when she came back down south, she did some work with the University of Alabama, some teaching with doctoral students there. She did some work with some students at the University of Alabama, Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. And she was always flying, making these speeches, and always consulting and continuously making contributions. And one of the things that occurred to me is that I wanted her to smell some of her flowers. And so one of the things I did, I nominated her for the American Academy of Nursing Living Legends Award. And then, because that's a very important award, I wanted to make sure that history did not forget her, because she has impacted so many lives beyond healthcare. I mean, she's made the careers of many physicians, nurses, sociologists, psychologists, social workers, politicians. For a matter of fact, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Mary was an advisor to the last 6 presidents of the United States up until Barack Obama. And I'm sure if she were alive today, she would be consulting with Barack Obama.
I think you're right.
And so Mary, because of her common sense approach to everybody and to everything, she was a constant mentor. She had pearls of wisdom to give to everyone. And she had made so many contributions to so many professionals and so many lives. We don't want to forget her. We don't want to forget her marvelous words of wisdom. But in addition, I want you to be aware that Mary's life was not easy. And I think Dr. Poon was crucial in documenting that her life was not easy. She rose up and conquered many obstacles. And she needed to be recognized. I think one obstacle that often stuck with me was how when she completed her BS degree and master's degree in nursing, she came back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where her family was to practice. The only job that was available to her was working as a nurse's aide. She was the most, and she worked at the VA, she was the most highly educated nurse in the building. And the only job she could get was working as a nurse's aide, at nurse's aide pay, but she was committed and she worked and she did her job. And one day, the officials in the federal government determined that the director of nurses at the VA had to have a master's degree. She was the only nurse working at the VA in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with a master's degree, and immediately she went from nurse's aide to director of nursing of the VA.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
And she talked to me about many situations like that. She talked to my sons about many situations like that. Hang in there. Whatever you're doing, do the job well, even though it may not be what you believe you should be able to do. Do the best job you can do no matter what you do. And that's exactly what she did, and she impacted many lives.
That is a remarkable story, Aura, and I really appreciate you sharing that. I actually do recall Mary sharing that story about her early career and the challenges, and you're right, her early life was not easy. But you know what? The universe ordered events in her life that somehow things worked out, and we're all blessed as a result, so thank you for that insight.